Why do cats hate Taylor Swift? Or more specifically, her music? And when I say this, I don't mean cats are yearning for Taylor to go back to her country music roots. This is not about cats wishing for a return to the purity and simple innocence of the past. That's not the issue here. Cats don't discriminate between the different eras of Taylor's discography. They don't care whether we're discussing her early country days, her pop transition, her indie phase. They simply hate all of it. Yeah, that includes the Eras Tour and all of the deeply emotional tracks from the Tortured Poets department. There's no exception. To understand why, we need to look at how cats perceive the world. Cats view the world very differently to humans. For one, they spend most of their time about 10 inches off the ground, and they view the world from a very low floor perspective. They also can't see the full range of colors that humans can. They're described as having dichromatic vision. So they perceive colors, but in a much more limited range versus humans. Being primarily nocturnal animals has influenced their sensory development. They possess exceptional night vision and super sensitive hearing, which are crucial for hunting and survival. So we know they view the world differently. Let's look at their hearing in particular. Cats' hearing, like their sense of smell, is much more advanced than ours, which allows them to hear sounds of much higher and lower frequencies, detecting frequencies from 48 kHz up to 85 kHz. Cats can actually hear higher pitched sounds than both humans and dogs. The sensitivity to higher pitched sounds is particularly notable. Cats are more attuned to these high pitched sounds made by rodents and other mammals. This ability is not just useful for hunting, it also ties into their communication. They use high pitched sounds to signal distress or to communicate with kittens, which are sounds they can easily detect even at a distance. Cats' ears are also designed to be highly directional, which means they can easily locate the origin of a sound. Think of it like wearing a gaming headset when you're playing Call of Duty, and you can hear exactly which direction the footsteps of the enemy are coming from. In cats, it helps them detect the slightest rustle, which could indicate the presence of prey. What's more is that the structure of their ear aids their hearing. Their outer ears, or pinnae, can rotate up to 180 degrees. This is supported by over 20 muscles that control the movement of each ear, making them highly precise acoustic receivers. Okay, so we know how cats perceive the world and how their hearing works. How do they experience music? Cats don't naturally enjoy music created for humans, which generally falls outside their preferred auditory spectrum. Instead, they're drawn to sounds that replicate the frequencies used in natural feline communication. Research has shown that cat music, which incorporates suckling and purring sounds and matches the typical vocal range of cats, is much more appealing to them. Other sounds they like include bird chirps, whirring noises, and euphoric tones that help energize them. Cat music tends to be composed at a frequency that's 2 octaves higher than human music. You might be wondering, how the hell did they figure this out? You can't actually ask your cat what he wants to listen to on Spotify. Well, David Teie is a cellist with the National Symphony Orchestra, and he partnered with researchers at the University of Wisconsin to consider how cats' hearing differs from ours before going on to compose cat music. His idea was to use the recipe that humans use to make music, but instead of using ingredients that are designed by and for humans, species-specific music is created, with ingredients taken from the voices and development of a different species. For example, we have a pulse in our music because we heard the pulse of our mother when we were in the womb, for 4 months when we were born as our brain was developing. Since a cat's brain is only 1/8 of the size it will be at birth of what it will be at 10 weeks old, the cat's pulse wasn't present in the little kittens as they were developing. So David uses a sound for suckling milk that replaces the pulse in his music. So in that study by the University of Wisconsin, they wanted to know if cats prefer human music or their own type of music. And they tested 47 different cats of different breeds, and they played them 2 pieces of music. Cat-specific music versus human music. The music was played inside the cats' homes where their owners were present, using a controlled setup to fairly compare reactions between the 2 pieces of music. The key findings were the cats showed a significantly stronger interest for the cat-specific music. This was evident in their behaviors, such as approaching, orientating, or rubbing against the source of the cat music. And cats generally displayed more positive behaviors with the cat music, with less avoidance or negative reactions when compared to the human music. What's interesting was that younger and older cats showed stronger responses to the music versus middle-aged cats. A follow-up study was done by Louisiana State University that involved 20 cats. Each animal was played 20 minutes of David's music. The cats heard the music in random order during 3 physical examinations at a veterinary clinic. And the kittens were scored on their stress levels, how easy they were to handle, and they also took blood samples to measure their physiological stress response. The outcomes were as expected. Cat stress scores significantly decreased when the cat music was played. The handling score also showed similar results. The blood samples didn't reflect this too much, but the researchers think the 20-minute examination session might not have been long enough to allow the music to affect this measure. So why do cats hate Taylor Swift's music then? Because they prefer species-specific music which evokes feelings of calmness and relaxation. So think very calm, light music, which is well tolerated among most cats with minimal volume or surprises. Taylor Swift's music, like most pop music, is typically mastered to appeal to human auditory ranges and includes frequencies and volumes that are comfortable for human ears, but might be unpleasant or even painful for cats. So what music should you play for your cat? Luckily, there's plenty of free species-specific music on YouTube now, which incorporates everything we've discussed, appealing to cats' natural instincts and evoking feelings of calmness and relaxation. When I'm working, I play this music for Moon, and it definitely keeps him occupied and calmer. Whereas if I don't play it, he's usually meowing and being all needy and just constantly asking me to play with him. So anecdotally, this stuff definitely works. Of course it does. It's science. So there you go. Now you know the science behind why cats hate Taylor Swift. But do you know the scientifically best way to pet a cat? Check out this video next.